Welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. I'm your host Caleb. I recently did a video on the new Venom card, and then a lot of people were shouting out Norman Osborn, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna go look at that card. And what the heck? Are Wizards just printing whatever? Now this card's absolutely insane. The power level is definitely going to reach CEDH, so we're gonna talk about some things we can do with this card today, what the card does, and everything in between. But first, don't forget to claim that free $15 in that whatnot link down in the description down below. You can also get 10% off all of your Tolarian Library proxies whenever you use code DT for D. So super excited to announce I'm now partnering with Baron of Dice to bring your TCG accessories to the next level. These deck boxes are put simply just eye-catching. I'm obsessed with the leather exterior on these. It just makes the art look super unique, and that's what you're looking for whenever you're trying to show off your deck. The playmats are also super high quality. They have a non-slip backing along with hand-stitched edges featuring that eye-popping art drawn by legendary artists in the space like Ron Spencer. They're also giving me a 5% discount code for all of you guys in the audience. Again, thank you Baron of Dice for sponsoring this channel. Now, let's get right into what this busted card does. This is a 2 CMC creature. Norman Osborn can't be blocked, so he's unblockable, and whenever Norman Osborn deals combat damage to a player, we get to connive. So we draw a card, discard a card. If it's a non-land card, we get to put a 1/1 counter on him. But honestly, the most broken part is the flip side, the green goblin. This is going to be 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 black, so we're in Grixis colors, so the world is our oyster. He has flying, menace, spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less to cast, which is insane on its own, but it also says each non-land card in your graveyard has mayhem. The mayhem cost is equal to the card's CMC, and it says you may cast a card from your graveyard for its mayhem cost if you discarded it this turn. That's absolutely insane. Now this is disgusting. The first thing that came to mind, and I think the first thing that came to a lot of people's mind, is this is going to be an amazing Wheels commander. Wheels are cards that allow you to discard your entire hand and draw 7 more cards, 5 more cards. It differs depending on the wheel, but this is going to be incredibly powerful because the downside of the wheel strategy is you have to keep casting more and more wheels to get your value off of them. And in that process, you're not able to cast the cards in your hand effectively. You just need to go wheel into wheel into wheel, but now with the green goblin we can go wheel into wheel into wheel and still cast everything from our graveyard at a reduced rate, which is absolutely insane. This is definitely one of those commanders where I could see us using those discard outlets that allow us to discard cards for some value and allow us to just flat out discard cards, because discarding a card to get a cost reduction of 2 immediately is still broken. Hell, there's even cards that allow us to discard cards from our hand to generate mana. I'm also a fan of cards like Bone Miser. This one says 5 mana, 1 black, 4 generic. Whenever you discard a creature card, you get to create a 2/2 black zombie. Whenever you discard a land card, you get to add 2 black to your mana pool. And whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land card, you get to draw a card. So imagine we have a discard outlet on the battlefield, or we just flat out wheel. We're going to generate a ton of black mana from all of the lands we discard. We're going to draw into more cards from all the non-land cards we discarded, and we're going to generate a board state. This card kind of does everything, and we're also going to be running the Waste Not version. Why not? This does it for our opponents. So now whenever our opponents discard any creature cards, we're getting 2/2 black zombies. Whenever our opponents discard land cards, we get 2 black mana, and whenever our opponents discard a non-land, or a non-creature non-land card, we get to draw a card. This is going to be insane in the deck because we're going to obviously draw into another wheel and discard upwards to 10 cards, and it's just going to get increasingly more insane, and we're going to generate the mana to cast those spells from our graveyard. Again, this strategy was already insane, and having the ability to cast cards from our graveyard is just going to make this one of, if not the best Wheels commander, hands down. And I'm willing to die on that hill because honestly, this commander is just absurd. The CEDH applications are there as well. We all know Lion's Eye Diamond. This is a 0 CMC artifact that allows you to add 3 mana to your mana pool, but you have to discard your entire hand. Well, now whenever you discard your entire hand, you can still cast it using Norman Osborn, and those cards are going to be discounted, which is also actually pretty insane if you ask me. So now we're getting the discard, and we can just cast Underworld Breach from our hand, right? So let's say we have Underworld Breach in hand and Lion Eye Diamond on the field. There's nothing stopping us from just sacrificing the Lion Eye Diamond and then casting Underworld Breach from the graveyard for 1 red mana. This is also going to allow us to get a cost reduction on all of our counter magic. It's also going to give us us access to all of our counter magic that we would be forced to discard. So it's less of a high risk play and more of a just very efficient play that you would definitely do to cast this from the graveyard. And now we're adding the Underworld Breach mechanic to a Green Goblin deck, which basically allows us to reduce the cost of all the cards we're escaping while getting reusable value of the cards we already casted with Green Goblin's ability. This guy's just not okay. Am I the only one seeing? Like, this is crazy, guys. I think this commander could be the strongest from the set, and I don't think it would be even close. We're in Grixis color again. The world is your oyster. You could also do some weird stuff, like let's say you wanted to build a storm deck. You could fill this full of a ton of 2 CMC artifacts, a ton of discard outlets, and then you can just throw in cards that allow you to draw additional cards whenever you're discarding your non-creature spells, like your Bone Miser effect, or include cards that allow you to draw cards whenever an artifact enters the battlefield. There's a plethora of those as well. So it can turn into an artifact storm deck. We can play wheels, we can play CEDH. This guy is just so broken. He allows you to build whatever strategy you want. And I don't think there's any limit to this guy. Some cards that we're just going to talk about today are going to pertain to the wheel strategy because I think that's the most blatant and the most powerful to play in a casual setting. CEDH, we already know the combos. We're going to play some gross Grixis stack, and then we're going to play a lot of mana generators. We're going to be playing your Underworld Breaches, your Brain Freezes, and we're going to win the game through a Turbo Breach strategy, right? That one's known. That one's going to be very, very efficient right out of the gate. And the fact that you can cast this guy for 2 mana in the early game for a little bit of card advantage is not nothing, or I would say card selection. It's not advantage because you're discarding and drawing. And then later in the game, you get this broken ability. So the front side, it's not bad, but it's just highly overshadowed by how broken his backside is. It's absolutely insane. And I know I keep saying that, but again, I'm just blown away that they printed a card like this because I think it is going to be, yeah, insane. There's no other way to say it. So let's talk about some cards that you guys have seen before that are going to be broken in this strategy. We have your Razorkin Needlehead. This deals 1 damage whenever an opponent draws a card, so 1 wheel effect. You could be looking at upwards to 21 damage to 1 player. Shieldred the Apocalypse. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever your opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. That's also going to be very good in this strategy. And again, you kind of just wheel enough till you kill the entire table. Your your Archfiend of Ifnir effects, also crazy in these strategies. I think this card is just underrated in general, especially if you're discarding cards. This is a 5 CMC creature demon that says whenever you cycle or discard a card, put a 1/1 counter on each creature your opponent controls. So in a wheel deck, 1 wheel effect will wipe the board. And even if it doesn't wipe the board, the fact that it's dealing the fact that it's giving negative counters to your opponent's creatures means that they're at least going to be smaller and eventually they will die. Will of the Jeskai, also kind of insane. It says choose one. If you control your commander as you cast this spell, you may choose both. Each player may discard their hand and draw 5 cards. And then it says each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. The reason I like this is because we're able to wheel a ton, right? And then after we've wheeled a ton, we can go ahead and cast this from our graveyard, wheel even more, and give all of those wheels flashback, and they're going to get reduced by our commanders. All spells cost 2 less from the graveyard. So again, this could be a powerful Spellslinger deck as well with a flashback sub-theme. That way we are able to cast them from our graveyard. Again, world's kind of your oyster. You can build this guy any way you want. As long as you're casting spells from the graveyard, it's not going to matter. I think this is very quickly going to get the Corvold treatment though. As soon as you're sitting across from it, you know what kind of deck it's going to be and you know what kind of game it's going to be. So be prepared whenever you bring this guy to a table to be playing a very powerful strategy, because they're probably going to have to bring a very powerful strategy to back up what you guys have in the 99. With that being said, guys, leave all your ideas for the Green Goblin in the comment section down below. I think I'm definitely going to build a wheel deck. I love wheel strategies, and I think right now this is probably the best guy for it. I think he's even better than Nekusar. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to leave that for you, and I hope this helped you in your deck building endeavors. I'll see you in the next one.